Dozens of sex offenders, including child molesters, have been let out of jail to keep the coronavirus from spreading in our prisons. Meanwhile, a Texas judge has thrown a hair salon owner into jail for opening up her business to keep food on the table. Our benevolent overlords say that they're doing all of this for our own good, of course. And they're counting on you being afraid enough to buy that. In California, Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer said that he was outraged after the state ordered the release of 7 high-risk sex offenders from his county's jails, all of whom have multiple convictions for sex crimes. One of those inmates released is 39-year-old Rudy Magdaleno, whose criminal history includes child molestation, indecent exposure, assault and battery, among other violent crimes. Now, Magdaleno, who has also been convicted of violating his parole 5 times, was arrested again just 1 day after his release for failing to charge his GPS monitor. Another is 40-year-old convicted child molester Kyle Winton. 46-year-old Jose Origel has been found guilty of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor and great bodily injury. 2 others had been convicted of sexual battery, among other horrible things. Of the nearly 4,000 inmates Illinois has released thus far during the COVID-19 pandemic, 146 were sex offenders, including 3 who were considered sexually dangerous persons with mental health illnesses and a proclivity toward harming children. Another 64 had been convicted of murder. In Washington state, Governor Jay Inslee ordered the release of certain criminals, including 2 sex offenders and multiple gang members. An infamous serial killer who'd been sentenced to 500 years in prison for raping and murdering upwards of 80 women back in the 80s and 90s was 1 vote away from being released by the Washington State Supreme Court. So thank God for small mercies, I suppose. But as rapists and child molesters and murderers receive a get-out-of-jail-free card, a judge in Texas was busy throwing the book at a hair salon owner for opening up her store despite local shutdown orders. Shelley Luther, owner of Salon a la Mode, was sentenced to 7 days in jail and fined thousands of dollars for refusing to apologize after she opened up her store despite the closure mandates. She told the court that she was faced with either opening up her store or watching her employees go hungry because they don't have enough money to pay their bills and buy food for their kids. Dallas Judge Eric Moy accused her of being selfish and putting her own interest ahead of those in the community. Never mind that Luther did not force any customers to come into her store. Never mind that it's her store. And frankly, she can do with it as she pleases and the state can shove off. Because we're in 2020, where the government has apparently decided that we're all toddlers who need to be policed because we're too stupid to know how to wash our hands and not lick door handles, or to make up our own minds about what risks we are and are not willing to take with our lives. So in our own best interest, the government has decided that rapists aren't a threat, but a mom who cuts hair is. Murder somebody and you can go home with this ankle monitor, but give a willing customer a wash and trim, and now you're a danger to public health. Molest a child and you can be let out of jail, but if you open your own store to keep your family fed, they'll accuse you of spreading the coronavirus and then throw you in the same jail that they just opened up to keep from spreading the coronavirus. And we're all supposed to accept that somehow this is for our own good. Of course, this is the same government that banned elective surgeries to help people in chronic pain but kept the abortion clinics open. The same government that closed down the playgrounds even though children are not at risk, but then quarantined sick people in nursing homes and created human petri dishes that have killed thousands of seniors, that told us face masks were useless, then mandated that we wear them, that said we can't go to church, but we can pack in like cattle at Walmart. You can't go for a walk, you can't garden, but you can go to the liquor store, but you can't buy toys and books. You can drive through McDonald's, but you can't hold a drive-in service. And all of this is based on a patchwork of state and local regulations that make no scientific sense, are inconsistent and illogical, and aren't in line with the data. See, when all of this started, we were told to hunker down for a couple of weeks so the hospitals could stay afloat, and that we would go where the science led. Since then, multiple tests and studies have proven that this infection had already spread way further than the experts realized. The fatality rate is far lower than predicted. Nursing homes make up the bulk of those fatalities, and hospitals are not being overwhelmed. We've been at this for 2 months, and none of the data supports continuing a widespread shutdown. And it sure as heck doesn't support jails swapping child rapists for soccer moms. And that's your Reality Check, America. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page, that you like us on Facebook and Twitter, and stay sane out there.